Hello. I guess in this one I'm just really bummed out. This is another Cptsd vlog. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Video log. I think it's like number 25 now or something. I'm just depressed. I don't know. I just hate it out here. I live in this small town and it's just so much not been working, and I just feel drained more and more every day, and I just am hating it out here. And I came out here for a job, and the job just like didn't work very well. It was toxic, and I tried my hardest to stick it out, but then I got really burnt out and like sick, and I just basically couldn't do it. So I went on like leave from work, and now I'm at the end of my leave, and I just don't want to go back. And now I'm thinking about leaving this small town and going back to the city where I came from. And I'm just thinking about like how I can do that, because I just have this small car that barely works. It's in like rough shape. It's not even insured anymore, and I'm just thinking like, how can I get rid of enough stuff that I can fit, the rest of my stuff in the car and just drive back to the city I'm from. I already pay like $1,000, or with utilities it's like $1,100 or $1,150 a month for the place here, $1,150 Canadian. So I could go back to where I'm from and pay for a place there, and it would be a better place, probably. I don't know. I would miss out on like the nature out here, but I'm so depressed it doesn't even matter. I don't even do any of the nature stuff. Like, I barely even go for that many walks down by the river or through the forests or, up the mountains. Like, I could count on my hand how many times I've, done like a hike. My one hand. And I don't know. I've been here for like almost 2 years. And when I said I was coming out here, I basically said I would do 2 years and see how it was going, and then, reassess what I was going to do. And it's already coming up to 2 years. Like, it'll be a couple months before it's 2 years. And I'm turning 30 years old in, 4 days. So, yeah, honestly, I feel like it was kind of a failure in a lot of ways. It was way harder than I thought it would be. It has been so lonely. So lonely. And it's just been a struggle. Like, I don't really get along with many of the people out here. Everyone, the people just feel really tense and weird in a way. And like, I have not met hardly any funny people. Like, I used to love to laugh. I thought so much stuff was funny. But the people out here, they laugh, but it's like nothing's funny what they laugh at. They're always doing nervous laughter, and it's like generally not that funny. But I don't know. I feel really crummy out here, and I'm having like a really bad time. And I get depressed so bad out here. And like, yeah, I just wonder sometimes why is so hard for me, and why is it so bad out here? But it almost seems pointless to do that. Um, I mean, the only point would be so that I could improve it and not feel that way, you know? But I have tried. Like, I've tried so many things. Like, I just don't really fit in out here very well. And it's rough. It's tough. Like, I go to church. I'm a Catholic. But there's not really any other young Catholics. There's like one. And I haven't really been able to meet anyone like to date or romantically. I mean, there were some women that were interested, but I wasn't interested back. And then I was interested in someone, but they weren't interested back. So it just didn't work out. And like the house situation out here in northern BC is so expensive. It's ridiculous. And like I thought I was making a lot of money, but I'm still poor. Like it's still like crazy. Like even if I applied for a mortgage, I don't even think my mortgage amount would be enough to buy a starter home. And the price of everything is so expensive. Groceries are so expensive. And I don't know, like the church is just like dying, and the priest is so stressed out. So I started a Bible study for men because it just felt like there was no opportunity to just sit together and talk. So I wanted that, so I started one. And that's been like one successful thing. But it took like 7 or 8 months to start that because the priest was so resistant to it. And you explain that to me because I don't understand that. How is it that the priest talks about the church is dying, and then he's so upset, and then someone, me, tries to bring an idea to bring new life into the church, and he's super resistant to it, and it took 8 months. That makes no sense. But now we're almost done our 12-week run, and it's been going good every time, and like I'm thankful for that. But other than that, like it's been so tough out here. So tough. So tough. So tough. Like, holy mackerel. And like, I'm just having a bad time. just that's about it. Like, I don't know, like I don't drink, I don't smoke. I used to do that stuff when I was younger. I don't do that anymore. I don't know. I did try too, like I did try, but I got so depressed and my mental health just went like straight down the tube. And I mean like I'll be honest, like I've been dealing with so much mental health problems since I've been out here. And I've been going to see so many psychiatrists, or I've been seeing psychiatrists, doctors, I've been seeing therapists. I literally did ketamine treatments for depression. I did EMDR for PTSD. Um, I'm starting with a new therapist, and he seems promising because he actually seems to know about complex PTSD. And he actually said to me, like, tell me your story. And for me, that's like a really hard thing. I've wanted to make a video for YouTube where I just tell my story. And yeah, like the negative thoughts have been so bad for me since I've been out here. And even for like making a video on YouTube, I even feel stupid. Like I feel like I don't deserve it, or like I'm a whiner, or I'm this or that. But for the most part, I've been getting better at ignoring the negative stuff, because there's always going to be negative stuff and people who hate on you. Luckily, I haven't experienced that much on my YouTube channel, and actually I've experienced positive people and encouraging people telling me to hang in there and telling me that they struggle too. And I mean, it just kind of like lights up my heart a little bit. I feel so bad for people who are going through like the feelings that I go through, because they're so difficult, and it's like it feels so lonely and so bad. And when I was younger, I didn't understand it, so I made fun of it a lot. And I just feel like kind of like ashamed at how silly I was. But I was just doing that because mostly I was just, silly kid, and making fun of anything and everything that I could as like a coping mechanism, I guess. But now I realize it's like serious, and I was diagnosed with like depression with psychosis, and that is like hell, because it's like so hard to relate to people, and you feel like crap. And it's so bad. It's so bad. And I don't know, I feel like I'm just barely starting to come out of that. And that, I think, was triggered pretty heavily by doing too many psychedelic drugs. Be careful with your psychedelic drugs if you're going to do them. Be very, very careful with them. And so, yeah, I made a stupid mistake by doing way too many psychedelics. And I feel like that just like triggered psychosis. And basically, I just have felt super like out of touch with reality, and like in some ways like numbed out and stuff. But it's been getting a little better. I've been talking to my family a lot, has helped. And I started meditating again, and that helps a lot, actually. To be honest, meditating, it really helps. Like, it just does. Especially for me, who I struggle with just like so many thoughts and negative thoughts, and just like so many low moods and feelings. And meditating, I just sit with it, and it's like I literally just sit with the pain in my head, and I can feel that pain, and it feels like a tightness. It feels like something that's there, but I don't experience it because I'm numb to it. And then when I meditate, I'm actually feeling into it, and then I like go through it. And once I go through it, it's like there's like this calmness, this niceness, this focus, this boundless goodness that comes through from the other side. Like I'll actually get good thoughts when I do meditate. And even even when the good thoughts come, I try and let those go too. And that's, I think, how you're really supposed to meditate, is just keep letting the thoughts come and keep letting them go. Don't go with them. And just experience the good feelings or the bad feelings as they come. And, your mind will make up all kind of thoughts. But yeah, just sit with them, or sit with the feelings, sit with your breath, and let the thoughts go. And so that's been really helpful. But yeah, I really crave and desire to do something. And yeah, I have really had trouble with that doing something. Like, I got a degree in psychology, and it's just been such a struggle still to like do something, to like feel like I'm building something, or I'm not sure. I feel like I need to go do further school just to hone in more on like what I want to be doing, because this job that I came out here for is so hard. It is so hard. It's like one of these jobs that's like super stressful. It's like mental and emotional work, and it's just draining. It's super draining. And the workplace is toxic. There's huge revolving door of the staff. The leadership was a revolving door. There was 8 different supervisors since I worked there, and I only actually worked there for like 13 months. That is crazy. There was 8 different. Now, granted, some of them were like temporary fill-in supervisors while they were looking for people. But when I got hired, there was 2 supervisors that were both supposed to be virtual, like not at the physical location, that hired me. And I was basically doing like almost like a social work job. And so they hired me, and they didn't really give me a proper description of what I was supposed to be actually doing. And then they relied on the other team members, like this other staff, to do that. And the other staff literally went like this. They're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you. And so it was just like this goofy situation. And then those 2 supervisors that hired me both left after a month. And one of them called me back on a Zoom call and apologized to me. And at the time I was like, it's okay, I forgive you, I guess. Because I was like thinking, oh, well, it's still early. Maybe somebody else will come in and tell me what my job is supposed to be and help me get trained properly and feel like my feet are on the floor. It was not really like that. It didn't really end up working like that. There was one decent supervisor who told me they were jaded. But they were decent though. But after a while, I went into they called me into their office for like a meeting or something, and I like started crying, and I said, why did they even hire me? Because it was so bad working there. Like, it was so like unnecessarily stressful and crazy although I don't know, I just don't understand it. Like, but also I was working with like an all-female team, and that was hard. And I was working with like a bunch of like in the same office as a bunch of social workers, even though my job wasn't exactly as a social worker. And I was going into schools and like trying to support in schools, and yeah, my job was like a support worker. And it was just a really hard job, really draining job. Like, I don't really understand a lot of BS. Like, I understand that BS is BS and that people do it for reasons. You know, there's apparently reasons that people do BS. Like talk, like create it and propagate it and whatever. There's apparently reasons. But what I understand is like, you are supposed to do this. Here is a guide or a manual or a book, and go do it. And it's got to have like this many sessions or this many, it'll take this amount of time, 8 weeks, 10 weeks or whatever. And write a report when you're done, or write a report when you're done each session, and come back and check with me when you're done, and we'll see how you're doing, and that's good. Like, I understand that. It wasn't like that though. It was not like that. Everyone was like ready to snap. Like, people were like stretched so thin, and expectations and craziness were like so high, and everyone was just like not chill and not cool, and like there wasn't just like a nice confidence, like, I don't mean like chill and cool as in aloof and stupid. I mean like, you can know how to do a job and people can tell that you know how to do a job, right? And it just did not totally feel like that. It felt like people were just doing their own thing and not really on a team. They were kind of all doing their own thing, and it was really hard to like even figure out what they were doing. And yeah, that's not to say they weren't very good at their jobs. Some people were good at their job at doing their own thing, but that was just like a really hard way to start a job in the mental health field. So, we do have a mental health epidemic in North America. It's true, there's an epidemic. And especially among young people, especially among, maybe even seniors, I don't know. But among a lot of people who don't have who have more risk factors or less support, or for whatever reason have mental health issues, it's an epidemic, and what we are doing is not working. What we are doing isn't working if you look at the numbers, because things are, if you look at the numbers, getting worse. And also our treatments don't really work, because if you look at the numbers, 90% of people who have depression end up still struggling with depression and symptoms of depression. even after treatment, even when they're taking medications. And so depression just seems to be a chronic but episodic illness. And that is really a startling fact, and that is really a difficult fact, because a lot of people make it seem like there's a treatment. You take antidepressants, or you go to a therapy. But the truth is that we just keep using different treatments until we find that one that is good enough, you know? And the thing is that the people, 90%, will still struggle with depression. You know, in one study that they tracked people with depression who were getting treatment. So that's really hard. Like, that is a really hard fact. And I don't know. I just know that what kind of works for me is meditation helps and exercise helps. And eating a proper diet and not doing things which I know are obviously bad for me and make it worse, like alcohol or smoking or, pornography or sitting on the computer all day. Even though if you're depressed, those things are like the things you kind of turn to because they make you feel good or numbed out. So if you're truly depressed, usually that's what you are doing because it helps you feel at least less pain. And so that's what a lot of people with depression are actually looking for. And you can't blame them because no one wants to feel depressed. But it's also so sad that our treatments are so inadequate, you know? So I'm reading a book right now called Brain Energy by Dr. Chris Palmer, and I'm trying to learn more about the metabolic reasons for mental health issues. I'm still on chapter 3, so I'm early in the book, but he says that he's found like a cause for mental health issues, and we don't know what the cause is for mental health issues. So we'll see if what he says seems to make sense, because as it stands, all mental health disorders are syndromes, and a syndrome has no known cause. A syndrome is a cluster of symptoms. So we actually don't know what causes mental health issues. We have some models. The diathesis stress model is one where you think that some people are predisposed to a mental health issue, and when a certain trigger comes along, they will develop that issue. And then there's also the biopsychosocial model, which says that kind of similar, when a certain confluence of biological, meaning genetic, or psychological or social factors swirl into the right mix, then it can cause a mental health issue. But those are just theories, and we don't actually know the why behind these different things. Like, we don't know why Two people can experience the same circumstances or traumatic event, and only one can get PTSD after. We think that maybe it's partly genetic or based on their previous upbringing, but we don't really know. Anyway, that's enough for now. I'm having a tough time out here, and I'm thinking about packing up and going back to where I came from because it's so hard out here. And I really hope that things can one day work out for me. I pray for that. God bless you if you're watching this. I love you. May peace be with you. In Jesus' name, amen.